Greetings and welcome back to IDP Bets. How's everybody doing? My name is Johnny the Greek. This is week 2 of IDP Bets. I am joined by a very special guest tonight. He is the director of betting at RPO Football. It is Patrick, better known as at Tackle Box Props, all one word on Twitter. He has a 73% winning rate from 2022 to 2024, and he's 5-0 so far this season. Patrick, how are you, sir?
Doing great. I'm pretty excited that the NFL season's back. Excited to be back on the podcast here with you this year, and hopefully we can continue pumping out some winners.
Yeah, you'll continue pumping out winners. I'm just trying to stay afloat here. But thank you for coming back. We love having you on, man. And besides our Cowboys, it has been a pretty good start to the
Yeah,
season.
exactly. Yep. Well, we don't expect much from the Cowboys, so
That is a true statement.
we hung around for a while with the Super Bowl champion, so that was a win enough for us.
That's right. We're taking moral victories these days. Absolutely. All right, before we get into it tonight, just a quick reminder these are not even suggestions. We're just discussing the bets that we will be making personally. Set a limit and stick to it. For help with problem gambling, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. We were 5-6 in week 1, mostly due to Scott, who was 4-3. I stuck up the joint, and Foye Oluokun was the only guy that saved my butt a little bit. So hopefully I'll do a little better this week, but Patrick is a rock star. These are a little bit unofficial picks tonight, right, Patrick? Just because we're looking at some like earlier lines and trouble finding good stuff this early in the week.
Yep, I'm gonna say that none of these will be considered official plays for me, just because they're not available most places right now. If they were available, maybe I would have made them official, but since it's like 2 books, we're gonna go ahead and just say they're suggestions.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, absolutely. And that'll get better as we get closer to kickoff. We've seen that in recent seasons where, they slow roll these things. But yeah, right now it's bet 365 underdog and that's it that I saw.
Yeah, MGM has some of them, but that's about it.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, with that being said, let's have a look see. What do you got for your first favorite IDP bet for week 2?
My first one, I'm going to take Matt Milano under 7.5 tackles and assists. I have that minus 130 on bet 365. Milano played 88% of the snaps in week 1, and he finished with 4 tackles against the Ravens. If the last couple of years are any indication, 88% is probably a little on the high side of where he would typically be at. On top of that, Milano has been very injury prone over the past couple of seasons and has only played 10 total games over that time. In those 10 games, he's only gone over this total twice, and both times he played 100% of the snaps. Those were also 2 years ago during the Biden administration. So he faces a Jets team that only gave up 13 total tackles to the Steelers linebackers in week 1. And last year, the Jets finished 29th in total tackles allowed to linebackers at 14.2 per game. My model has Milano projected for only 5.5 tackles and going under this total almost 80% of the time. So I think there's a lot of value to be had in that line at 7.5.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on this, man. And as an IDP player, I have 0 Milano this year because of the exact stuff we're talking about here. He can't stay healthy. He can't produce anymore. It looked great at one point, but that was a long time ago.
Yep, and he's got, Bernard to contend with, and even Dorian Williams got on the field for about a third of the snaps last week, I think. So, and he's usually in on about every tackle when he's out there, it seems like. So a lot of competition there.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. At the expense of Teron Johnson, too. That was a double whammy for us last week. Really didn't enjoy that. All right. Good stuff there. So Matt Milano under 7.5 for the first one. I like that quite a bit. My first one, I'm going to go with Paulson Adebo over 5.5 combined tackles. This is at minus 130. I'm bet 365, but it'll likely be out on DK in the next day or two in some way, shape, or form. So Adebo recorded 7 combined tackles in week 1, in what was an exponentially worse matchup than what he has this week with Dallas. This week he gets the Cowboys, who give up the most tackles to opposing cornerbacks so far this year. and had the exact same trend last season where they were top 5 for this as well. Adebo was mostly a wide cornerback in week 1, but also had 10% of his snaps in the box and a handful in the slot as well. So the opportunity for run stopping tackles should be here as well. Dallas gave up a whopping 20 cornerback tackles in week 1 and are a great team to start corners against to begin with. Coming off a 2024 season where they targeted their wide receivers the third most of any team in the league. Adebo is in a good position to clean up with a tackle after completed passes all game long here. And last season, he only played 7 games, but he crossed this line in 4 of those 7 games. I was targeting this game and this kind of bet to begin with, and I wanted Andrew Phillips initially for this, but didn't see him, so I settled on Adebo. Still a lot of the same factors working in his favor, though. So, what do you think about that one, Adebo over 5.5?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. 5.5 is big for a corner, but I mean, he proved last year that he can rack up tackles in a hurry, and Dallas is going to throw the ball, and whether he's on Pickens or CD, or he's always going to have a chance. And like you said, he helps out in the run a ton. I don't know. It seems like the perfect recipe for success on this one.
I hope so. I hope so. So we will see. All right, good stuff there. What are you thinking for number 2 for week 2?
For number 2, I'm going with Chamarri Conner over 5.5 tackles and assists, minus 120 on Bet365. Conner had 9 tackles in week 1 against the Chargers, and whether or not this is a good stat, he also missed 3 tackles according to PFF, so he had plenty of opportunities while he was on the field. In that week 1 game, he played 100% of the snaps and had ideal usage. He had 30 snaps in the slot, 20 in the box, 1 on the D-line, and only 13 at deep safety. He only went over this number in 6 of 15 games last season, but his role has changed quite a bit for this season, as last year he was the primary nickel corner and only played an average of 61% of the snaps. And this year he appears to be a full-time player and kind of playing a little bit of everything. He was also able to record 6 tackles in the Super Bowl against the same Eagles team on just 66% of the snaps. My model has Conner projected for 7.1 tackles and going over this also almost 80% of the time.
Nice. That's beautiful, man. And we were talking about this before we kicked off here, and I made waiver moves this week to get Chamarri Conner over guys like Grant Delpit and other guys that have been traditional in the box safeties, because Conner's considered a safety in a lot of places. Fantasy football wise, because his alignment was so good, all those box snaps. Like, yeah, give me some of that. Yeah,
for sure.
Nice. All right, good stuff there. All right. So my second one is going to be Kyle Hamilton over 5.5 combined tackles at minus 150 on Bet365. So wildly enough, the Browns are currently leading the league in safety tackles allowed so far. We got to take that with a grain of salt since the sample size is 1 right now. But even in a vacuum, I think it's a good bet that Kyle Hamilton gets at least 6 combined tackles on any given week, just, based on how good he is in real life. The price does reflect this fact. He crossed this line in 9 of 17 games last season and gets a Browns offense that can actually complete passes with Flacco and get the ball into his area. Flacco had 31 completions for almost 300 yards and a score. So despite this game likely being a Ravens bloodbath, I think Cleveland can hang around or at least produce enough offense to give Hamilton a shot at this. Beyond that, Kyle Hamilton lined up deep only 48% of his snaps in week 1 and spent a lot of time in the box with another good chunk in the on the defensive line or in the slot. And he also blitzed a little bit, and we know that a sack also counts as a tackle. So Hamilton had 9 combined tackles in week 1. He's a fantastic player with week-winning upside in IDP land any given Sunday. And as long as this game isn't like a complete blowout and we get full snaps, I think he's got a decent shot at this. What do you think about Hamilton for this line?
Yeah, for sure. With the Cleveland offense, I think they should be able to give plenty of tackle opportunities for Hamilton. with Flacco liking to chuck the ball, and especially with Harold Fannin emerging as a tight end and Njoku, I mean, Hamilton's going to cover those two guys quite a bit. So if they're getting them the ball, I think he has a really good chance to go over that.
Yeah, Fannin had like what 10 targets or something in week 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Drafted him in a few leagues and had no idea that that was coming, but pretty happy about it.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. Alrighty. What are you thinking for number 3?
All right, my last one. I'm going to go back to the well this week on Mack Wilson over 5.5 tackles and assists, minus 145 when I played it on Hard Rock. I think it might have maybe went to 155 at this point, the last I saw. But anyway, like I said, I hit this last week at 4.5, and I'm going to keep riding him again this week at 5.5. Mack Wilson's another player that has a bit of a role change this year compared to last season, where Wilson only played 75% of the snaps on average. And while he was on the field, he played almost half of those snaps along the defensive line, which is not great for tackle production. This year, Wilson has moved back to a more traditional linebacker role. He's wearing the green dot for the defense. And linebackers that played more than 90% of the snaps in a game last season went over 5.5 tackles at an 83% rate. So I will continue to take my chances with the guy that's playing 100% at linebacker to go over 5.5 tackles.
Yeah, that's a really low number for a 100% of snaps inside linebacker. Any linebacker like that.
Yep. And I forgot to look too, but they played the Panthers, and I'm pretty sure the Panthers gave up plenty of tackles last week to linebackers. So,
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That definitely feels low. So, yeah, that's some good value there. Alrighty, and number 3 for me is Christian Rozeboom over 7.5 combined tackles. This is at minus 140 on Bet 365. So he is coming off of a 100% of snaps week 1, where he had 8 combined tackles, and he's getting a team that gave up a ton of tackles to opposing linebackers last season, and has started this season the exact same way, allowing 20 linebacker tackles in week 1 with the Arizona Cardinals. So that's good enough for 7th most allowed so far this season, and this tracks based on what we know about Arizona and their offensive approach. In recent history, we've seen that they're a run first team that also has a ton of short passes over the middle to McBride. All of that is going to take place around Rozeboom, so he'll be in position to make plays all game long. The game itself only has a 7-point spread with Arizona favored. That is actually a little higher on this spread, but I highly doubt that this Cardinals team is going to beat them so bad that this is a blowout and we're getting Christian Rozeboom rest by the third quarter. Arizona typically plays down to their competition and not the other way. So yeah, I think he's got a good shot here. This feels like a lower line. What do you think about this one? Rozeboom over 7.5 combined.
yep, I agree with that. I was just looking at his numbers last year too, and I think counted he went over this like 9 or 10 times, and I think he only played more than 90% of the snaps in 2 games. So, I mean, he's going to be out there, should be out there 100% of the snaps. And for a guy like him who can rack him up in a hurry, I feel like 7.5 seems a little low.
Yep. Yeah. No, that definitely stuck out. Yeah. Yep. Alrighty, good stuff there. We got a couple bonus bets this week. Why don't you lead us off here? So Jared Verse and TJ Watt for sacks. What's up with that?
I don't know. I thought I'd shake things up a little bit and get away from tackles with the bonus bets. So I have no rhyme or reason as to why, but I feel like they're both playing pretty weak offensive lines. I know Tennessee's offensive line is pretty banged up right now. So I like Jared Verse to get on the board this week for his first sack of the year. And then TJ Watt playing the Seahawks. Their offensive line has been pretty brutal for years, and he didn't have a sack last week. So let's go with him getting one this week.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. It's not scientific, but it's true. If you play IDP long enough, you can see stuff like this, right? Like, oh, Watt's due for a big week. Yeah.
For sure.
All right,
How
good
about
stuff.
your bonus bet?
Yeah. So mine is also narrative based, just like yours. It is the should I drop Zaire Franklin narrative, which the answer is always no, right? Yeah, that is always the answer. So Franklin did only record 4 combined tackles in Week 1 as the Colts jumped all over the Dolphins and blew them out completely. Miami had to abandon the run and only attempted 12 rushing attempts the entire game as they were forced into a negative game strip and tried to have to, pass their way back into the game. Franklin sat early last week after only 81% of snaps due to blowout rest, and he missed many of the easy run stopping tackles that are a key component of his floor each week. That should not be the case this week against an exponentially better Broncos team. And we saw Franklin cross this line in 13 of 17 games last year. That's 76% of the time he went over this last season. So yeah, this does feel like a slightly lower line for him that's based off bad week 1 production that was due to game script instead of what we know he's capable of. The Broncos allowed 17 linebacker tackles in week 1, which is middle of the pack overall. But once again, very small sample size, so we're taking that with a grain of salt. So this is a little bit vibes based and narrative based, but I feel like he's going to bounce back in a huge way this week, crush this line, and put an end to the should I bench Zaire Franklin questions, forever, hopefully. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I just double checked, and I have him projected at almost 9.5 tackles, just slightly under. So I think there's a good chance that he bounces back this week against the Broncos, and I just don't think there's any way that the Colts offense can do what they did last week against the Broncos defense this week. So, and if we remember last year, it's a little bit different Colts team, but that Colts defense was on the field a ton, and I feel like it might happen again this week.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Miami is just a dumpster fire, and this Broncos team is not Miami. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty, good stuff there. So, yeah, man, that was a quick one, but that was a good one. Thank you very much. We always appreciate having you on. So, what do you got going on this season? Where can the people find you? Any announcements for the crowd?
I don't really have any announcements. You can still find me in the same place that I've been for the past few years here. I'm at Tackle Box Props on X, and all my plays are posted at RPO Football's Discord. So.
Nice. Yep. Head over there, get in that Discord. It is worth its weight in gold for sure. Awesome. Good stuff. Well, thank you guys for watching and listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for our other shows, the flagship IDP Show podcast, the IDP After Show, the IDP Trade Show, and IDP Drafts. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so for just $5 a month over at theidpshow.com. We've got premium features for our paid supporters that we know you'll enjoy. Follow us on Twitter at the IDP Show, all one word. Thank you for listening. Good luck in week 2, everybody. Hope you guys win some money, get some bets, and we'll catch you same time, same place next week. All right, take care, guys. Bye bye.